Hey everyone, this is John. This video is going to provide an overview into LeadCapture's new A/B testing feature. So let's not waste any time and just dive into this. On the left-hand side, you're going to see a new link called A/B testing. This feature is currently in beta from all of our testing. It's working great, but if you run into any issues or bugs or quirks, please reach out and let us know and we will get those fixed. So you'll see this A/B testing feature here. Also, inside of the lead table, you're now going to see this little A/B testing icon right here. If it's grayed out like this means there's no test happening. If it highlights blue, that means that there is an A/B test in progress. One really key thing to note, all of the metrics that you see here are always going to be the control metrics. We do not currently merge A/B testing metrics into the control metrics, and there's a whole ton of reasons for that. We can do that at the end of the test when you mark a test as a winner, but we can come back to that a little bit later in this video. Let's dive into the A/B testing UI to show you what this looks like. So when you come into A/B testing, you're going to see this area here. It will say no tests running. If there's a test running, then you'll actually see your list of tests. The first thing you need to do is create your first A/B test. You can do that by clicking here or up there, and then you have two choices. You can have AI generate test ideas for you. The AI will go through your entire lead funnel. It will take a look at your data and it will help you determine some areas to test. And it will give you a ranked priority list of ideas to test. Or you can start a test. You can create a manual test and have AI analyze the test later as you begin to go through that workflow. So you can either start the test from the A/B testing page, or you can go right into a lead funnel here and you can start a test from the actual funnel itself. The benefit of starting it this way is you can go right into the funnel and you do not have to choose from one of your listed funnels here. So let's just create a test with the AI Copilot. So I'm inside of this MVA funnel test. I'm going to click Generate Test Ideas with AI. Now at this point, the AI is going to start going through. It's analyzing the funnel structure, reviewing conversion data, identifying optimization opportunities. This is going to be one of those parts of the A/B testing system that we're constantly refining and improving upon, because AI is just one of those things that you always need to continually improve upon and give it more feedback and context into how to get better. So if you get any weird results or if it's suggesting things that don't quite make sense, take it with a grain of salt. We're going to be working on making it better and better. So when you go to start your A/B test, you're going to be on a page that looks like this. It should redirect you right here. Now, if we just back up for a second, let's go back to lead funnels. And then again, when the test starts, this will turn blue. The test is in draft mode, so it's not turning blue yet. But if we go back into A/B testing, here's your test right here. Now, a few things to note. You can filter by tests. As people begin to scale up tests and as we learn more about what's needed from a UI perspective, maybe we'll create like folders and the ability to search. All that will come later. You can expand your test and get a quick high-level view of what's happening. Now, some metrics would fill here, but since the test is in draft mode, it has not started yet. You can have Copilot review your metrics. We'll dive into that in a moment. But let's just click into the test and set it up. Now, inside of the test page, there's a few things to note here. This is the custom domain that you will use when sending traffic into your test. This is going to be the same domain as your test funnel. And you'll see that this is even using the custom domain that I sent on LeadCapture. If you are embedding your funnel into a page that is hosted on another platform, whether that's WordPress, Unbounce, Leadpages, Framer, ClickFunnels, you can still run the test. Just copy this embed code and make sure this is the one that you're using. It should be the same as your control. So whatever you're currently using for your control, you shouldn't need to update, but it is conveniently placed here. Next thing to note, your control is here, your variant is here. If you want to update the variant, click into it and you can make updates. The way this works here is when the test is started, it is going to clone the control and it will create that clone copy of the control and it's going to call it the same name and variant there. One thing I forgot to mention is for the actual control variant weight distribution, you can choose 50, 50, 60, 40, 70, 30. I feel like this should probably be a text input or something with more choices, because what if you want to flip it? So that's something I think we have to think about, but I would say default to 50-50 for now. Don't get too complex. You cannot do multivariate testing yet. Right now it's just 50-50. You either test a control against a variant. Most people don't have a need yet for crazy multivariate testing, but that will be coming soon. We just wanted to get the current version of A/B testing out there and live. Next thing to know before I dive into changing the variant and actually running the test, let's get to the AI analysis, because this is a pretty cool feature, and I think it's something that makes our A/B testing feature a little bit different. When we launched A/B testing, I sat down and I thought, how can we make it more, how can we make the workflow more interesting and more useful? And how can we layer AI into the process? And that is where this whole idea comes from, where I think we aren't ready to give up full control to AI and to AI agents to do all of the testing. But where I think AI can make a huge difference is the analysis and the recommendations. So the idea here, and this is something we're going to continue to build upon, is to have AI recommend ideas here and then force rank the ideas to give you a sense of things that you could test. And this is the beginning of what we're thinking of as like an A/B testing plan. Eventually, we want AI to be able to build out like a whole plan, and you can continue to test against the plan. Because what we have found through testing is you'll run a test and maybe the test is inconclusive or fails. Then you should always be thinking about what's the next thing. It's that whole concept of continuous improvement. Um, so what we want to do is position you to be able to build a plan and always kind of have this running list of what's the next thing you're going to test. So here's just some ideas that the A/B test that the Copilot recommended. Reduce funnel length by removing duplicate state questions. So it's actually going through and looking for optimizations. Now, the feedback that I'm getting back here probably isn't great because this is just a test funnel without a lot of data. But what you can do here is you can come through and choose the options that you like. So I'll just choose these ones. And then if there's one that's like terrible, I'll just click that and it deletes it. And then you can click Save Selection. Now at this point, we've saved some of the test ideas from Copilot, and we can choose to test one of these. And if you click on this, so let's just choose Simplify Injury Language. So we'll just choose that. So now this is showing that this is what we're testing. Now, when we choose this test, the AI is not going to go in and actually make that change for us. Maybe that's a future update that we make. It's just kind of a way for you to see what it is you're testing. Now, if there's something that you want to manually test, if you are like, these ideas are terrible, I have a better idea, you can add your own custom ideas in here along with the Copilot ideas. And then you can hit the little test icon, and then it will move it to the top. So you still have the ability to add your own ideas. Another thing that we added in here is this is just a way for you to add a note. So what we are testing, you do not need to complete this field. It's not required. But I personally always like to document what I'm testing, even though we have the A/B testing thing here that's showing you what you're testing. I always like to take detailed notes because I have found that I always forget. And the way that I deal with that is I usually have like spreadsheets of all my tests. But now you can just enter in whatever it is you're testing and your test hypothesis, put it right here, save it, and you're always going to have that stored with the actual test that you ran. So that's how the A/B testing analysis, the initial analysis works, and that's how you set up the test. But let's also just touch on the variant. So let's say that you want to update the variant. Click here. This will take you right into the variant. So let's say that you want to change a bunch of things. You can test the entire page. You can test the entire funnel. You can test different steps within the funnel. You can test different integration setups. For example, if you want to test OTP against not using the OTP phone verification, you can test that. So you would just switch that field and disable it. You can test different routing. There's really no limit to what you can test, I think. And if you do find a limit, let me know, and we will try to overcome that. So in this case, let's just say I delete a whole bunch of things. Maybe I don't want this picture of the person there. Click Save. You'll see that we are in the variant. And now maybe this test is ready to go. So then we would go back into A/B testing, hit Start Test whenever you're ready. Now the test has started. So since this is a 50-50 test, it will essentially, without getting too technical, apply all the cookie tracking, and it should always serve up the correct variant or control part of the test when people come to your page or view the funnel, and it should stick with the session. Meaning, if someone comes in and they view the control, they should continue to see the control unless they come back in on another device, clear their cookies, or use another browser. If someone sees the variant, same exact thing. And I would recommend just going through both tests, making sure that it's all posting properly. We have QA'd this thoroughly, so it all should be good. But you'll see here, as the test is running, first let's just back up. You'll see it's now running. And then if we go back to the funnel, you'll see this is now blue. So that way you know that you have a test in progress. If we click into the funnel, we also have a feedback loop here. So this way you know that the test is in progress. So if you make changes to the control, it could invalidate your test because you're then changing your test. So we made sure to highlight that there. Then if you click into the test, actually let's go back. If you click this drop down, you'll see some high level metrics, but if you want more detailed metrics, click in, you'll see it shows collecting data. It just has some insights around roughly how many views you need and how many conversions you need for more meaningful data. Here's some of the metrics as well across both tests. And as leads come in, the leads are going to show up in a table. So this way you can see the leads across both the control and the variant. Now, if you want to see specific metrics for the variant, maybe you're wondering what leads are going directly to the variant. Well, you can see that in the table below because we tag it with variant and control. But if you want to see what does the drop-off rate look like for the variant, click here, and this will take you into the variant's specific lead details page. And this is where you're going to see the funnel steps, where it's all broken down by each step in the funnel, and then all of the leads for the variant. Those leads would appear in your leads table as well. So let's get to the final steps here, the analysis of the test. So imagine you have your test running, and now you're at the point where you want to analyze the test and see what's actually working. This is another part of the workflow where the AI Copilot can come in and be a huge help. And this is usually where I think there's a huge bottleneck for people because we begin to introduce bias and our own bias into how we review and analyze tests. And I also find sometimes it's just hard to do that or hard to find the time to sit down and do that. So you can, of course, go in and look at the metrics and make your own decisions, but you can also come in and have Copilot review the tests for you. So you can click here, and Copilot is going to then go through the test. You'll see that in my testing, I already did some of that, but it will go through the test and begin to look at all the data and provide some feedback here. And maybe this is something we're going to have to continue to improve upon. I'm interested to see what it comes back with. It is sending a really long message for something that has no data yet, but let's see. It is saying, since the test just launched with 0 views and 0 leads on both sides, there's no performance data to analyze yet. And it's interesting because it's then saying, but here's how to set yourself up for a meaningful and conclusive test. How long should you run it? It's giving some ideas here. Now, there's all different ways to think about how long you should run a test for. And this is something we're going to continue to feed context to Copilot on. So that way, it can even present different ways to think about how long you should run tests for. Things to avoid. So it's interesting that it's still, that it was like, okay, you don't have a lot of data here, but here's just how to think about it, which I think is pretty cool. So that is what would happen here. So let's say that you start to get some more data in. You could have the Copilot review the test. I think you could even open it up here, and yeah, you could just talk to it right in the chat and have Copilot help guide you towards when it's actually time to end the test. Now let's say that you're ready to end the test. So at this point, you could come in and click End Test, or you could even do it from the A/B test page here. Let's just go back into the page. We'll drill into it. We'll click End Test. Now, you have a number of options here. If the test is inconclusive, you can mark it as inconclusive and make a note and click End Test. Nothing will happen. Your control will not be deleted. The variant will not be deleted. The test will just go into this inconclusive state. It will be completed, and the control will begin to run 100% of the time, and all of your leads will continue to be stored. If the control wins, click that. Same sort of thing. Add your notes. I would always recommend just keeping detailed notes. The test will be stored so that way you can go back and look at it later, or even see some of those ideas that Copilot had suggested if you want to test another thing. And then the variant will continue to exist, but all the traffic will run to the control. If the variant wins, you can add your notes, but now if you click End Test, you now have two more choices. You can either promote and replace the control. At this point, if you promote and replace the control, it is going to actually replace the control funnel with the variant, and that will now take place of it, and all the traffic will be directed to the variant. But the control will never be deleted, and the leads for the control will not be deleted. If you choose duplicate as new funnel, so if you clone it, then it's going to create a fresh copy as the variant. And then all you would need to do is go into your campaigns and your landing pages and all that type of stuff and make sure that you have all of your links updated to point towards the new variant that won the test. Personally, I would probably, just to be safe, clone the variant so this way you don't have to run into a potential problem if you were to replace the control. I don't think you would run into an issue. Like, we tested this extensively, but I'm also paranoid, so I would always just have a fallback as having a cloned version of the control. Or you can even clone it, come back in, and then replace and click it again. I think that would work. I don't really know. That's something we have to test, but choose one of these, or just be safe. Or if you're not sure what you want to do, just click skip for now. I'm going to clone it, and now you'll see it's duplicating it, and it just created a duplicated version of the control of the variant, and it's now at the top of the list. So with all that said, I think that's all that I wanted to highlight for this first video, just going over the A/B testing feature. Really looking forward to hearing feedback and ideas on how to continue to improve upon this. The future is, at some point, Copilot will be able to create the entire test and run all the tests for people if that's something that they want to do. But for now, we're just trying to find ways to improve the process with brainstorming ideas, getting the test set up, and analyzing the test using the AI Copilot.